It is so nice to have the basement back in order. Welcome back to a new episode of the AJ Show. Man, I am excited for this new renovated space. Previous episodes I showed in 174, this wall was like all concrete and boards and such. I did a pretty good job getting all this done. However, we do have one issue. That window is not very friendly right now. So we'll tolerate with this episode and we'll get a curtain rod, put a curtain up there to cover that up because that glare is awful. But it is episode 175. It is our 25th milestone marker episode. We do try to do something cool or something special. Unlike the last one where Rocky the Raccoon took over and did a Michael Teitelbaum Sonic the Hedgehog book, The Fortress of Fear. Well, that pesky raccoon ain't gonna be here on this one because I am going to do the job for this one. I know. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a Michael Teitelbaum's Sonic the Hedgehog book. I know I've been ranting and raving about these books. They're inconsistent graphics and artwork and mediocre stories or rip-off story like the Friend or Foe that's based on a Sonic Sat AM episode called Game Guy. Yeah, but this is the final entry of Michael Teitelbaum's Sonic the Hedgehog. So without further ado, get yourself a beverage, sit back, relax, and let's do our last ever entry, the final installment, Michael Teitelbaum's Sonic the Hedgehog. Michael Teitelbaum's final entry of his Sonic the Hedgehog story, known as Sonic X-TREME. Look how extreme this cover is. That silhouette Sonic the Hedgehog on a board, rocking a backpack, and then you got all in color this doofus-looking Dr. Robotnik from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, the slapstick comedy one from the 90s. Yeah, this is not my favorite Robotnik, even though he was also in Mean Bean Machine of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine on the Sega Genesis and Game Gear. This is the version you get. Again, not my favorite version of Dr. Robotnik. I prefer the Sat AM version of Dr. Robotnik. He's more menacing, more sinister, more evil. This one is just a complete goof, in my opinion. He starts out pretty vengeful on this one, but this one, I can't take Dr. Robotnik seriously anymore in these stories by Michael Teitelbaum because he is a freaking idiot when it comes to the story. But again, Sonic X-TREME, it's a very extreme cover. It's really cool and edgy. This came out in 97, I believe. What's the copyright date? Hang on, I believe it is. Copyright date, yep, 1997. So, late 90s, 97, there you go. Sonic X-TREME. Check out Sonic's brand new look. Ooh, so edgy, so cool. So 90s. But here it is, subplot on the back. I'm just going to read the subplot on the back here. Bunny Rabbit is in danger. Again? The SWAT bots have Bunny captured. And the only way Sonic can save her is to beat the evil Dr. Robotnik in an extreme sports contest. Oh, no. No. Are you kidding me? An extreme sports contest between a speed demon of a hedgehog and the fat, overweight scientist Dr. Robotnik? Scott Steiner said it best.
All right.
He's fat! I'm gonna...
about this.
I don't care if he don't... I'll make him bleed!
Exactly. He is exactly what Scott Steiner said. Let's move on. Sonic knows he's better than Robotnik at bungee jumping, rock climbing, and surfing. Oh, lordy. But Robotnik has some dirty tricks up his sleeve. Can Sonic free Bunny, or will Robotnik crush the freedom fighters forever? this rate, let's just crush them and get it over with, all right? So let's just end it all. And this is the last entry again. This is where it ends. And the story, it's really not bad of a story when it comes to this book here. So let's get into the plot of this one. Again, Bunny Rabbit is captured, all right? Sally and Bunny was on patrol while Sonic was out doing some extreme sports with Rotor, doing some time management and, you know, breaking world records and all that fun jazz of whatever extreme sport Sonic does. He's all of a sudden into doing the extreme. He's living extreme. He's the definition of being extreme now. However, Sally barely escapes from the attack they suffered, and Bunny is captured, which some sort of device basically made her robotical limbs not work anymore. So, yeah, there's that. You know, Bunny Rabbit. Let's talk about Bunny Rabbit, or Rabbit. We discover Bunny in the first entry we talked about, actually more like second entry, Sonic the Hedgehog Robotnik's Revenge. I asked the question, what revenge was there to be had with that one? Because I didn't know about the first book at the time until I started researching these books and decided to buy them all now. I got a problem. But anyways, it's Bunny got captured there, and Sonic was late to the party saving her, causing her to be half rabbit, half robot. So now hence the name Bunny Rabbit. But Bunny is captured, taken away, so then Dr. Robotnik is now challenging Sonic to an extreme sports competition. If you want to see Bunny Rabbit again, then challenge Dr. Robotnik to an extreme sports competition. Again, as Scott Snyder put,
He's fat. Like, I'm gonna.
About this.
I don't care if he don't. I'll make him bleed.
Exactly. How in the world is he going to compete against Sonic the Hedgehog? Easy. He's going to cheat. And that's what happens in each extreme sports competition, is that Robotnik finds sneaky ways to cheat and win some events. By spraying oil on rock climbing where Sonic slips and can't even climb. All that fun stuff. I'm not going to go in depth to all the shenanigans that those chapters have, because it's one event to the next event to the next event, and every event Dr. Robotnik has some weird foil plan. Snively and Antoine get into an argument because they are representing their competitors and all that fun stuff. However, Sally, after recovering from her attack, her and Rotor decide to go visit Robotropolis. Minimal security there because they're all elsewhere. Where are they? Well, they discover that Bunny is held captive in a new space prison. She's in outer space, y'all. So she's locked up in a space prison. And so they go and try to find or figure out a way to get to this space prison. And Sally had the audacity to ask Rotor to build a spacecraft. Out of the blue. With what? Seriously. With what? You just think he could just manage to build a spacecraft out of nothing? Well, they happen to have an old submarine converted into a spacecraft. It worked, apparently. They get to the space prison thingy, and that's where all the security detail is at. All the SWAT bots are all up there. It's high intense security. They find Bunny, but they can't get to Bunny because it's getting really intense, and they bail out, and the SWAT bots give chase. To the final events of the extreme sports competition between Dr. Robotnik and Sonic, Sonic manages to win the competition. Sally and Rotor are chased down into the scene of the extreme sports competition. They eject out. They crash their ship. All is happening right there. The Robotnik's like, haha, I got you all now. I'm going to capture you all. But Sonic trashes everybody, hitches a ride on a spacecraft that's going back to the prison. And he's hanging extreme sports like with a board and all on the back of the spacecraft going into space. Don't worry about the atmosphere. Don't worry about not able to breathe in space. Apparently Sonic can breathe in space. So they get into space. He goes and trashes the space prison. They rescue Bunny, brings it back. Robotnik escapes and leaves and flees the scene. All is well again. That's the story of Sonic X-TREME. Again, the story plot is fairly simple. Again, children's book. These are all children's books for children in mind. The chapters are decently very short. Chapter 5 spans of just literally 3 pages. You're done. Very easy to read. Large print, of course. Some pictures are involved in here. They stayed consistent with the Dr. Robotnik design in this one. There's only one design, unlike the previous entries that we have dealt with in the past, such as Dr. Robotnik's Revenge in the second entry, and so forth. But with this being the last entry of Michael Teitelbaum's Sonic X-TREME, that's how it ends. That's how the series of these stories ends. You know, you went from the first book where it's basically an origin story of, you know, Sonic's Uncle Chuck finding, you know, Robotnik, you know, younger years, and basically takes him in like his own, and then later just betrays them and starts this whole revolt, a revolution to, you know, capture everybody and turn them into robot slaves, you know, and take over the world. That's how that all started. So you have Uncle Chuck to blame in this continuity for bringing in Dr. Robotnik because he felt sorry for him. And he becomes this masterminded mad scientist and such. So, which leads to, you know, the second book, Robotnik's Revenge. We know what revenge is to be had now because Sonic thwarted his plans in the first book. He wants revenge. He captures Bunny Rabbit in there, and Sonic gets late to the party rescuing her, causing her to be half rabbit, half robot. Then you get to, I believe, Friend or Foe would be the next one, where it's a rip-off of the Sat AM story episode of Game Guy. Then you get into what I believe is Fortress of Fear. Lackluster. It really is. It's a lackluster story. And then you get to Sonic and Knuckles. Decent story in that fact because it's Knuckles' debut. They show off the floating island, the Chaos Emeralds. And that one kind of gets a little dark turn in the story because Sonic has these visions and, you know, dreams of all of his friends being killed in that one when Robotnik harnesses the Chaos Emeralds. And then you get the Sonic X-TREME where Dr. Robotnik is competing against Sonic in extreme sports for Bunny Rabbit's freedom. That's it. Those are the stories. We're free. I am free from Michael Teitelbaum's Sonic the Hedgehog stories now. Because this is it. And now I have the whole collection. The whole collection in my library. Why do I do these things? I don't know. But Michael Teitelbaum, you know, we don't really talk much about the author. And honestly, doing some research, doing some homework on this, there's really not much to tell about this guy. This guy is pretty much a children's book author. That's all he is. And he just happens to be inherited to write Sonic the Hedgehog stories. Living peacefully in his home with his family. Having a children's book career for more than 30 years. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe out there. I'm going to fix that because the lighting keeps adjusting on this camera. And take care.